The world has always felt solid, hasn't it? The walls you lean against, the streets you walk. The sky above that never seems to crack. We move through life with the certainty that reality is stable, that cause follows effect, that when you place a cup on a table it will still be there when you look back. But what happens when those rules slip? What happens when the code of existence flickers? When you witness strange glitches in reality's fabric that make no sense? When the universe itself betrays its own logic? Across the world, people whisper of moments when the everyday folds into the nightmarish. A man walking down a familiar street finds that the houses are suddenly reversed, mirrored as if he has walked into an alternate copy of his own neighborhood. A woman swears her husband's eye color changed overnight, not hazel, but piercing blue, and when she confronts him, he laughs, confused, and tells her they've always been blue, while old wedding photos mysteriously agree with him. Children vanish and return with subtle differences, tiny errors in memory that drive parents insane. The phenomenon has been called many names: glitches in the matrix, dimensional slips, time fractures, reality breaks. But to those who've lived through them, the labels don't matter. What matters is the primal terror that comes with realizing the world around you is not reliable, and maybe never was. When the ground of reality cracks beneath your feet, no amount of rational thought can pull you back. You are left adrift in a world that feels almost, but not quite, like the one you remember. A distorted copy, a haunted mirror, a nightmare that wears the mask of the everyday. Consider the account of a man in Poland who returned home late one night and found his apartment subtly wrong. The kitchen tiles were the wrong shade. His keys fit a door that felt slightly heavier than usual, and his dog, normally bounding to greet him, cowered in the corner, growling. At first he thought exhaustion was playing tricks on him, until he noticed photographs on the wall that he did not remember taking photographs of him, smiling, with strangers whose faces stirred no recognition. He called his brother, desperate to hear a familiar voice, but the number connected to an automated message saying the line was not in service. Shaking, he left his apartment, slammed the door, and when he returned 10 minutes later, everything was as it had always been. The tiles, the right color, the dog wagging its tail, the photographs back to normal. He convinced himself it was stress, but weeks later, his brother asked if he had been sick that night, because around that same hour, he had suddenly felt ice cold, as though someone had walked over his grave. Stories like this creep out from every culture, every corner of the world, and yet they are strangely consistent. Corridors that lengthen, rooms that appear where they shouldn't, faces in mirrors that lag behind. They all hint at the same thing. Reality is not a flawless machine. It shudders, it resets. And when it does, you might just notice the gears slipping. Once you've seen it, you can never unsee it. Once you've felt the veil tremble, you live with the dread that it might tear completely. Some glitches are cruel, targeting not places, but people. Imagine sitting down to dinner with your family, the smell of food rising, laughter filling the room. You blink, and they're gone. Not gone as in leaving the room. Gone as if they never existed. Their coats still hang by the door. Their shoes still line the hallway. But every photograph on the walls shows you alone, smiling to nobody. You called the police hysterical, but records show no wife, no children, no marriage license. Neighbors look at you with pity, whispering about your loneliness, when only hours before they waved at your children playing in the yard. This isn't just imagination. It's erasure. And the cruelest part, somewhere, perhaps, they still exist, looking for you in their own fractured copy of the world. Or worse, maybe you are the one who slipped into a reality where they were never born. A universe almost identical, but stripped of everything you loved. These are not campfire tales. Thousands have reported sudden changes, inexplicable vanishings, terrifying moments where reality does not add up. A woman from Tokyo swears she walked into her office building one morning to find that her desk was gone, her name absent from employee records, her coworkers insisting they had never seen her before. She left and never returned, terrified that one day she might wake up in a world where even her own reflection refused to recognize her. What would you do if the faces you loved most vanished overnight? Could you convince yourself it was a dream, or would you spiral into madness, questioning if you yourself are real? Mirrors, especially seem to be portals where the fabric wears thin. One chilling case involves a teenager in Canada who recorded himself brushing his teeth. Watching the footage later, he noticed something horrifying. When he lowered his toothbrush, his reflection continued brushing. When he walked away, his reflection lingered behind, grinning unnaturally. The video ended in static. By the next day, his account was gone, erased, as if it had never existed. Yet his friends swear they saw it, and some claim the grin of the reflection haunts them still, as if burned into their minds. Mirrors are supposed to reflect us, to confirm we exist, to reassure us that the person we see is tethered to our own body. But what if the thing in the glass is not you? What if it's something else entirely? Something mimicking you, waiting for a chance to break through. In countless horror reports, mirrors lag, show wrong expressions, or even display rooms that do not match the one they hang in. It's enough to make you want to cover every mirror in your house. But even then, surfaces reflect. Windows, screens, polished metal. Who's to say what's watching you from the other side? Strange glitches in reality's fabric may not be accidents. They may be openings, fractures, allowing things to peer in. And perhaps the glitch is not the mistake. Perhaps we are. Perhaps humanity was never meant to exist in this fragile simulation, and the world we know is just trying to correct itself, erasing us piece by piece. So what are these strange glitches in reality's fabric? Science offers small comforts. Déjà vu, memory errors, sleep paralysis, stress-induced hallucinations, or misfiring neurons in the temporal lobe. But those explanations are brittle, flimsy, against the sheer consistency and terror of the stories. People across continents, who have never met, report the same experiences. Time skipping, reality bending, the rules breaking. Too many voices whisper the same nightmare for it to be coincidence. Perhaps reality is not stable at all, but layered like thin sheets of glass, sometimes slipping against each other, causing fractures. When we notice they call it a glitch. But what if those are not mistakes? What if they are warnings? Every flicker in the corner of your eye, every object that seems to vanish and return, every dream that feels too real might be a sign that the veil is thinning, that soon the patch will tear beyond repair. And then what? Will we fall into nothingness? Will we wake up in a truer, darker world? Or will something else slip through to take our place? When you hear the static crackle of your phone for no reason, when you see your reflection smile a second too late, when a familiar face seems just a little wrong, remember, tease, maybe reality is already unraveling, and you're only noticing because your corner of the simulation is breaking first. Tonight, you've been brave enough to stare into the fractures. But if you want to keep going, if you want to tear the veil wider, don't look away now. Step deeper into the dark. Another story awaits you, one even more twisted than this, one that may finally reveal what lurks on the other side. Click here if you're ready to risk never finding your way back.